So we're gonna go over the list of the notes from Riot Jackoff that came out 1 minute ago. This is the World's Patch preview. Oh, Camille's also getting a nerf. Oh, that's actually interesting, because I thought they were just gonna let Camille be the best character in the goddamn game. They nerf Renekton, which is like the only check Camille matchup, and even then, like, you can still get around it. The Predator buff is pretty whatever. First off, a couple system buffs. Why don't they just have runes items? So the Predator buff is decent, but like it's shit. So like the ramp up time in the MS is from 1.5 to 1 MS, or 1 second, sorry. This is like when you turn on Predator, it has a little ramp up time for you to get the full MS. And then that MS is now buffed by 15%. Pretty decent overall, but sir, who's gonna go this in game still? Like Gragas, but if you're playing Gragas, you need to be deported. Predator, like only really ever all that useful as a jungler rune, was situationally a mid laner rune. Some was like, I don't know, a gimmicky support rune as well. That's about it. Omnistone, sorry, Omnistone users will for sure use this one, I think. Yeah, guys, Omnistone users are gonna... Hey, the Chinese Jackson Camille players versus Canon only are gonna pop the f off with this change, because they're getting potential Predator. Umbral Glaive. Wow, that's a really sizable buff. I don't even care about the 2 lethality. 2,400 gold for a full legendary item? That's really good. I think that was one of the problems with this item. It's like, it's just as expensive as other items, so it's like, why would I ever buy this? This item sucks. It's really bad. I feel this little base AD nerf. We've gone over base AD nerfs before. They're pretty decent. They're all right, you know, because it affects their entire game, early and later into the game. Affects all their AD scanlings, any percentage increases, shit like that. Ashe is getting nerfed. This is actually pretty nice, but this really only affects her levels 1 to 9, which, like, Ashe's levels 1 to 9 aren't like Omega punishable, especially if you pair her with decent supports. Like, Ashe's problem right now is that her itemization is so good, and she's still really, really safe. Only time you're ever really able to punish it is if you're able to have like Prio jungle matchup, and then also force it mid Prio to 4-man her bot lane early. I'm talking pro play specifically. In solo queue, it's like, okay, well, Assassin's Killer, like this won't change that. But it's kind of weird they would nerf all 3 meta AD carries right on the World's Patch. Like, hello? Sorry, what happened to not stirring the pot too much, right? We nerf Aphelios and Ashe and Varus all in the same goddamn patch. We also then nerf Jace's base AD again. Bro, Jace is gonna have an Orianna level base AD at a certain point. They literally do not stop nerfing base AD on the champion. Guys, it's his early game, Copium. Just nerf his early game a little bit more. No, it's his like 2 to 3 item spike is absolutely ridiculous right now. Eclipse plus Manamune going to Mermana plus Serylda's is completely absurd on Jason. It does a ridiculous amount of damage. Lee Sin base AD, they're just touching on the base AD. This isn't even a real patch. Callista R knockup duration. Oh, finally, guys. Callista's R knockup duration is down by 0.5 seconds. She's ruined. She's gutted. She's not playable anymore. What are these? These aren't... Okay, I've literally looked at like 4 changes so far that are literally completely nothing. Did they say, guys, it's a Worlds patch, right? This is the patch Worlds is gonna be played on. So we're gonna add a bunch of words, but none of them mean anything and none of them do anything. The Lee Sin one's pretty decent. The Jace one's pretty decent. Felix one's like Ashe one's Camille, this one's actually sizable. This will actually tackle, like, this is probably like as large, if not bigger nerf than the Renekton nerf. If you're strictly looking at lane phase, that is. This passive early CD going up by 4 seconds early is really big, because Camille's extremely passive reliant in lane. Like, she could, you know, use her passive twice per minion wave almost. Now she can use it like twice every like minion wave and a half almost. That's actually a pretty sizable deal, because this will add up. Let's say you take 4 trades with Camille, right? Let's say you trade with Camille 4 times. That's 1 whole passive proc she'll be down in terms of just like the 4 seconds adding up every time. So that's actually a pretty sizable nerf. Camille actually hit rather hard, but she's still gonna be Cho'Gath ulting you for 1300 true damage in the late game. So Renekton, I saw this pretty decent nerf overall, but Renekton's still just like the stat check king. Honestly, I'm actually not sure, because one of the bigger things about trading against Renekton was that because the stun was that long, like he actually had enough time to dash in, like W, then auto Q, then an E out. This actually like tightens that window to where if you mess it up, it's easier to actually punish Renekton for looking for trades like that. So maybe it's a little more punishable, but I mean, I don't think Renekton is ruined or anything. Hopefully teams will stop blind picking him because I don't think he's just, you know, like super blind pickable anyways. Pretty good meat shield, I guess. Thresh base MS nerfed. Wow, guys. Hey, Thresh has been ruined. He's had his MS taken down to Gragas tier. Yo, Thresh, welcome to the club. You have the same MS as Yumi and Gragas. Doesn't feel so good, does it, huh? Feel like a real piece of shit. Some E damage nerfs that don't really matter. Like, wow, guys. His E max bonus magic damage, that's a mouthful. His E max bonus magic damage, his AD ratio +1 per soul went down, but then per soul went up. So I think that's just a buff. Guys, 80 Thresh got nerfed. W max is still just so good in games where you want your 80 carries free hit the wave and you're not doing anything. So like a lot of pro games. Lantern is such a broken ability that even if it had a 40-second cooldown early game, you would still just max it for mid game where it's like the most free tool in the entire goddamn game. It's so broken. Like, it's insane. As long as you have some frontline, you can have Thresh. Like, Thresh plays every role. He can play frontline, he can play engage, he can play follow-up, he can play utility, he can play for pick, he can play for turn, he can engage, he can disengage, he can peel, he can kite, he can... Like, he does literally everything. He's absolutely insane. Has actually been probably the best character in the entire game since his release in Season 2. Thresh will never be bad. It's not possible. The only time Thresh could possibly be bad is if, like, the Ardent meta comes back, because he wasn't a very good Ardent user, where the sheer value of giving your 80 carry stats is more valuable than the sum of your kit. That's the only time where Thresh wasn't just the best champ in the entire goddamn game. So what, one meta out of a decade? That's nuts. Trundle support. I mean, you can't call this a support nerf because it's just nerfs Trundle as a whole. Like, there's games where, like, reasonably on Trundle jungle, you could go pillar max second against more mobile teams. Guys, Trundle support is good for one patch. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, but we're gonna buff Lulu the last 3 patches in a row because we know you guys love Lulu. We're gonna buff Lulu and Kog'Maw in the same patch. Okay, Dr. Minnow gets a jungle buff. Who cares? Wow, this is another jungle buff. Didn't he just get a jungle buff like 3 or 4 patches ago? His jungle... Okay, guys. Riot, Mundo is fine. I don't know why you guys have this obsession. Okay, because you're doing this with like Yone and shit too. The character is really good, just not in every game. And it's based on their kit and when they're useful and who they're useful against. Buffing all of their numbers until they're broken against everyone won't do anything, right? It'll just make them more oppressed in situations where they are good. And then after you go to past the tipping point, it's like, oh, well, we obviously now have to over nerf this guy because we're too stupid to not buff them properly. Mundo is a fine jungler and Mundo is a fine laner. He just isn't pickable every game because there's so much true damage in the game. Healing that, like, bro, you can have characters out heal Mundo. Healing is Mundo's identity. You have Yone pull up with a shield bow and a Ravenous Hunter and out heal a Mundo in a team fight. Like, my god, like, Mundo's literally fine. Like, in games where people pick like either like heavy AP or like all somewhat immobile or just a generally low damage team comp, so if they pick like 2 or 3 like low damage front lines, right? If you are able to counter pick Mundo there, he's absolutely ridiculous. Mundo shouldn't be a character where you pick him every goddamn game, right? Because that's not what it's designed to do, right? His passive is useless against a lot of characters that just don't even have crowd control, because you're not gonna pick Mundo into Ezreal, because how are you ever gonna kill Ezreal? Ezreal's gonna E over a wall and then Mundo's gonna himself because he doesn't know what the Ezreal just did. It doesn't matter that his passive makes him immune from crowd control. Ezreal doesn't care. Vayne doesn't care. So, I don't know. This Draven buff is just... This is a Synapse buff. Okay, straight up, this is literally a Synapse buff. That's it, right? Synapse is gonna farm like 100 clips off of the new Draven. Like, T1's gonna get a clip. You're gonna see, like, I don't know, Chad Draven farm some clips. Hums is gonna return to the game. Hums is gonna come back from retirement. I miss Hums. Hums, please come back. We all miss you. And then this is gonna be a funny, haha, lol, Synapse moment where Draven executed someone. because he had like 300 stacks. Let's see, Gangplank. They're buffing his HP. Okay, well, Solar's paying them off. This is the most irrelevant change I've... Okay, no. Okay, guys, they're calling this a Kai'Sa buff. This is probably the most irrelevant change I've ever seen, ever. Guys, at level 12 and 13, Kai'Sa E is on a lower cooldown. No way, man! No way! That's nuts! That's crazy. Completely irrelevant. Affects only like late mid to actual late game, and it isn't even really that useful of a change anyways. So completely irrelevant. Like this is literally, you could remove this and no one would even like bat an eye. Like this is literally just here to pad out the list to make it seem like they did more work than they actually did. They don't do a whole lot, so they're really trying to stretch it thin here. Karma, base armor.
On the world's patch, man. On the world's patch.
Who in the I don't know, man. Someone literally has to be like just a huge karma fetishist at this company or something. Do you know how many buffs karma gets? If you were to measure the average amount of changes a champion gets between buffs and nerfs versus the amount of buffs and nerfs karma gets so much attention for no reason. She's a triple flex pick, which Ryan said they hate, and I know they just went and went, oh look, we're gonna put like karma in the bot lane. Yeah, that's for sure gonna work out when you buff her base armor. That's gonna work. She's not just gonna go back to the solo lanes. As long as her base damage on Mantra is insane, she can always garner prio. She's just gonna be a laner that nulls lane, makes it boring, and then plays for jungle. That's all karma exists to do in a solo lane. But whatever, man, sure, let's just keep... I love karma. Karma's so great, man. Karma's so quirky. When karma goes sa Taliyah and just like nukes me for 200 damage at level 4, it's really wicked. Kog'Maw changes. E damage AP ratio. Alright, AP Kog'Maw is on the return. Honestly, I kind of miss AP Kog'Maw, because AP Kog'Maw is just Xerath from the Void. That's literally, it's just Xerath. Oh, also Kog'Maw has the puppy skin, so he's puppy. Misfortune, R waves. God damn, can I get a wave check for Misfortune? Decent buff, just it literally helps her at all ranks. That's all right. Morgana Black Shield buff, also pretty decent. Still no real reason to pick her. Okay, so here's the thing, right? Morgana is an enchanter that loses to every enchanter. So yeah, okay, so Morgana support is just bad, because unless the enemy team unless Alicopter is taking a piss and bans nothing when his champ select starts and then picks Alistar, no one's picking Morgana, right? Literally no one. But yeah, Morgana is just a really underwhelming kit. It feels like all of her power budget is put into her Q, lasting for 6 years, and then her E, but like her ulti is really underwhelming. Her W is also really underwhelming unless you're jungling, which they swiftly toss that out after MSI. So Morgana's just a really underwhelming, like that's the thing, right? Characters like Karma and Morgana are just really underwhelming champions. They're not very fun to play. They don't offer a whole lot of interesting gameplay. So I would like to see Riot actually buff them in interesting ways. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I like the characters I play to be interesting. Singe's buff. R causes all damage to apply grievous wounds. Okay, I know we're desperate reaching for straws here, right? But what the f is this change? This literally just reads, Singed doesn't have to buy Oblivion Orb. That's literally what it reads. Guys, we saved Singed 800 gold and we shipped it to the live servers. That's actually funny. He just saves 800 gold. That's it. That's so stupid. God damn, what has Singed been eating that is noxious gas? Has a little bit of spice added to it. But this change is pretty nice. It's a pretty good buff. I'm not gonna lie. Overall, I would say that's probably the most impactful, like reasonable buff of the patch. Soraka buff. Soraka clears wounds from the target. Yeah, I mean, just shameless behavior from Riot Games. You know, the thing that's supposed to be counterplay for healing. Well, Soraka's an exception, so we just chose to remove it. So Soraka now doesn't have counterplay. Taliyah Q cast on grounded work refunds 50% of the CD and radius reduction and duration down. Wait, these are really large Taliyah buffs. I'm not gonna lie. These are just straight up good. It doesn't really help her jungle at all, make her Q AoE again, but like no one's playing Taliyah mid, and it's for a reason. Like for the the 1.5 Taliyah players out there, this change is pretty nice, but no one's picking Taliyah. She's a really outdated kit, and they ruined her with the rework because they wouldn't even let her stay a competent jungler because she isn't designed for mid lane anymore. Twitch buffs, these pretty much don't matter. Hey, bro, trust me, I've seen Mr. Earl on the timeline be depressed as f. Please, Riot Games, I hate life. I have no AD Twitch to play, and I can't play it. Please give me buff. I'm praying to God. And this is not it, right? Okay, Twitch presses R, he gets 10 extra AD. Like, that's not Twitch's problem. His problem is that whenever he's in auto range, he just explodes. Bro, how is 10 AD on Twitch at all levels of ulti supposed to make him even be able to auto attack Qiyana, perma-spamming Grass Q into Prowler's R, unmissable EQ, explosion, Twitch dies, the bubonic plague is solved by one Qiyana R on Europe. How is Twitch supposed to play into that? It's crazy. Urgot change, QCD down, mana cost down. Decent buff, just decent buff. Yone buff, W shielding for extra champion. Honestly, not that relevant of a change. Pretty bad, honestly. So Yone not really buffed a whole lot. Super situational buff. Yumi passive CD is down by 4 seconds. Zed passive damage now deals 100% damage. I think it was up from 50%. Guys, Jungle. Guys, Riot watches my stream, by the way. Get this. Riot literally heard me say, guys, it's really depressing how Zed unironically has a better clear than Gragas. So you know what they did? They made his clear substantially better than Gragas's. Off, man. This Zoe E change is actually really big. 4 seconds off early and 2 seconds later, actually really big. Because Zoe's a character that, like, how long her cooldowns are is everything in terms of her playmaking, right? So, like, Zoe's E being down early is really big. Gives her a lot more pick opportunities. I honestly wouldn't have a problem with Zoe if they just reworked her W. Like, what a genuinely unfun, unscale expressive ability they added to the game. The rest of her kit is just a standard poke mage, right? With one large range. Just rework her W, and I won't hate you. Some Fizz changes. Passive damage reduction increased to 8 plus 2% AP against champion attacks. W on hit damage is up. R guppy damage is down? Why? What? They nerfed the AP ratio and the base damage at later ranks. But that's for Guppy. Okay, what's Chomper? Chomper. Okay, Chomper is up all, and Gigalodon, that's a stupid ass name, is up. Okay. No, actually, this is a good change. No, this is unironically good for Fizz. So not only did they give him a little bit extra on his passive and his W, like, okay, I don't know why they call these champion adjustments. These are just buffs, dumb These are buffs. These are buffs intended to buff the characters to make them better. Like, this is literally these are just buffs. Okay, Fizz's R damage on the smallest melee range R is down. But if you're using that anyways on Fizz, you're misplaying the character. So the medium and large ultis are just way better. Qiyana, base attack speed up. Guys, do you remember, like, I don't know, when Qiyana was jungle, was a meta jungle last time, Riot nerfed her attack speed on her W and her base attack speed so that her jungling would be worse? Yeah, we're just gonna revert those, and then Qiyana's just a fine jungler again. Q damage now deals 25% bonus damage to monsters, and the E damage is up early. This isn't the full changelog I saw in PvE, so maybe this isn't actually a big deal. No. If this is the change, this is fine. It looks like they reverted the Q buff. They were straight up buffing her Q, by the way. Like, they were literally just buffing her Q by 20 base damage at all ranks. So thank God they somehow realized that they just made a mistake and didn't add that. They were literally just buffing Qiyana. Like this still is just a buff, right? Base attack speed's really nice because her W also gives her attack speed. HP regen down really doesn't matter. And then she can now clear monsters somewhat efficiently, and then her E damage is up. The E damage really doesn't matter at all. It's 10 at all ranks. Lilia changes, dude. I honestly just don't care about Lilia changes at all. I think that Riot has missed the mark so hard on Lilia so many times that I just skip over the character now. It's like you can make 16 different changes. You can change Lilia as much as you want. You guys have f***ed up and just missed it. Rumble passive attack speed is now per level, and the W is back to 6. Okay, so this change is to try and make sure that Rumble doesn't become overpowered as a jungler again. That's pretty much it. Talon Q base damage increase at later ranks, and W is now a jungle clearing tool. This is probably a real jungle change, by the way. Like I wouldn't be surprised. Like, you will actually see Talon, if his clear is good enough, jungle, because Talon is just gonna go smite ignite. He's gonna go red smite with ignite and have 3 dots to put on you, and then you're gonna die. So Tungle might be be playable. And that's it. That's pretty much the patch notes. Not excited to see Qiyana not get nerfed. Literally the highest win rate mid laner in solo queue across like every major region that isn't in fart low elo. Most disgustingly unskillful character they've ever added to the game. It's not even close. The character is so easy. They literally added aim assist on her basic ability, and then her ulti is literally not missable. It's cool. And she has permanent Akali stealth forever. Wicked. Really awesome. Not an elo-deflating garbage character, and if you are Qiyana one trick, I have a lot of respect for you, smiley face. Guys, no Draven is gonna say, guys, okay, guys, wait. I have to stack my passive for this dragon team fight. I'm only at 52 stacks of adoration. Let me get up to 160 so I can execute the jungler. Like it doesn't work like that. There's no way you're unironically sitting there like, okay, guys, I'm gonna sit here. Here's our win con, all right? We're playing Draven for mid-game. Like, just help my lane out. I'm just gonna farm on Draven, and then at 15 minutes, when we fight over second dragon, I'm gonna execute someone for 300 true damage. Like, that, no one's doing that. Literally, no one's doing that.